Welcome back to this Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching Closing Bell with me, Nandita Khemka.
And I'm Yatin Mota.
Well, it was clearly a day of breather when it comes to the bulls, given the fact that the Nifty has seen a triple-digit cut, managed to end above that 18,500 mark, given the fact that at one point we were even below that level. Sensex, at one point was down 500 points, but
Correct.
of course, it ended with cuts of somewhere around 350 points or thereabouts.
Yeah.
On a month-to-date basis, in fact, when it comes to month of May, it was a good month for the markets, given the fact that both the benchmarks have gained somewhere around 2%, with Sensex clocking gains to the tune of 1,200 points. Mid and small cap indices hit all-time highs. And what's heartening is the fact that Nifty IT pack has also snapped a 3-month declining streak. So that also ended on a positive note for the month. Talking about the day, a lot of action came in the last hour of trade, as you had mentioned during our midday chat. Once those MSCI, because of those MSCI changes that are taking effect from today, so a lot of action in Bharti Airtel. A lot of these Adani stocks as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And Kotak Mahindra Bank, that stock also saw a
very high volumes. In fact, Nandita, if you look at Kotak Mahindra Bank, the stock hit a 52-week high today. Volumes were nearly 20 times 1 week average, and if you look at the volumes, clearly today the stock clocked in volumes of nearly 18,000 crores in NSE cash. So that is the kind of scale we saw in the MSCI rebalancing. We obviously expected $2.5 billion of inflow in the stock, and that is what exactly happened. In fact, if you look at Kotak Bank, the stock obviously traded about 2,000 rupees, but futures were at a steep 100 rupee discount. So, the MSCI impact really coming in. In fact, Bharti was a MSCI deletion, and despite that, the stock went up 4%.
At one point of time, now
it closed 4% higher. And yes, a lot of action as far as all of these stocks are concerned with respect to MSCI. In fact, Adani Total Gas, Adani Transmission, both of these stocks saw volumes of over 2 crore shares.
Lots of action in the last hour of trade,
absolutely. And I think if traders make money or don't make money, or MSCI funds make money or don't make money, exchanges are going to make good money, given the fact that the turnover was quite strong on the exchanges.
Right, and of course tomorrow is the weekly expiry, so we'll have to see how volatile the street is tomorrow. But if you talk about sectors, you had banks, obviously that was the big drag today. Auto, FMCG pack, pharma, realty, all of these were among gainers. Gained towards the second half of the session. And autos, of course, will be in focus, given the fact that we will be getting monthly auto sales data tomorrow. So that's one pack that we'll be watching out for in tomorrow's session. Aside of Airtel, we had Britannia, Kotak Bank, as I was mentioning. Tata Motors, on the back of a positive report coming in from CLSA, emerged as one of the top gainers on the Nifty. On the losing end, ONGC once again lost somewhere around 3%. Axis, SBI because it went ex-dividend today. Reliance Industries, HDFC, Hindalco were among some of the top losers on the Nifty. Yatin, any other mid-caps you want to highlight right now?
So, Sona BLW, which is Sona Comstar, that is one stock we need to watch, because the MSCI rebalancing was there today. Post with the stock went up 10% intraday. From minus 5%, the stock moved up 5%. If you look at the intraday chart of Sona Star, clearly very, very strong volumes. In fact, Sona Comstar, if you look at the stock, the promoters today sold their shares worth 900 crores. Post which the stock was witnessing some pressure, but in the last half an hour of trade, strong volumes on this particular name, and good price momentum as well. As far as other mid caps are concerned, I'll just quickly take you through HDFC Life also. Not a mid cap, but yes, there was a block deal there, wherein the promoters, Aberdeen, who's a co-promoter, they sold shares. Suzlon, after strong quarterly earnings, stock was up 14%, ended at the day's high. Torrent Pharmaceuticals, another stock, good numbers, good guidance, and the stock went up nearly 8%.
Well, on that note, let's talk about all the stocks that are on our radar this afternoon, starting with Patanjali Foods. This is one stock that was largely flat, in the better part of the session. But, towards the end of the day, I saw the stock move up somewhere around 2% or thereabouts. My colleague had, Shelja, had a chat with the management, in fact, Baba Ramdev today, post earnings. And, he indicated that to achieve the minimum public shareholding, requirement of 25% or thereabouts, the promoters will be diluting stake towards 6%, and that could happen by as early as by end of June. In the beginning of June, they have lined up some some roadshows to meet investors from Dubai, Singapore and the likes. And the company had in fact assured compliance to the exchanges, because the promoter shares were frozen in March because the company had failed to meet the minimum public shareholding norms. So promoters and promoter group holds somewhere around 80% stake in the company, and the public shareholders hold somewhere around 19%. So to move that to 25%, the promoters will have to dilute stake by 6%. If you look at the numbers, 12.5% growth in profits, which was not all that bad. In fact, the management has also said that 72% of its EBITDA has come in from food and FMCG business. Right. And their focus will be to grow this business going forward. They want to grow it by 25 to 30% every year, because it was largely known as a commodity company, right? So they want to move away from that and focus on the FMCG and foods end of the business. They will be, of course, also rolling out newer products like, millet-based cereals and dry fruits as well, but they are also entering into sports nutrition segment. So all in all, the stock also, if you look at the valuations, PE ratio is somewhere around 41.6, lower than the sector PE. So it's a valuation wise, it's looking pretty okay. And foreign investors have increased the stake in the last quarter, but domestic mutual funds have pared their stake. So how the company moves to meet compliance and the minimum public shareholding norms, we'll have to see how things go. But for now, I think the guidance given by the management is looking fairly strong. Clearly, and
that's about Patanjali, and obviously they will be doing an offer for sale, given the fact that promoters need to comply with the minimum public shareholding norms. Let's see how really does that OFS shape up. Coming to Torrent Pharma, and as I mentioned earlier, the stock ended up 8% higher on the back of strong quarterly earnings. Obviously, we have seen in the pharmaceutical segment that most of the companies have done better than expectations when it comes to the quarterly numbers, be it Lupin, Sun Pharma, Cipla, all of them did well. In fact, Torrent Pharma, if you look at Nomura's note today, they have a buy rating on the stock with a target price of 1,838. The target almost got hit in trade today. If you look at the company financials, Q4 was good. In fact, management is guiding for 100 basis points kind of margin expansion moving ahead in FY24 on the back of new product launches. And in general, if you look at the net debt to EBITDA for the company, that stood at 1.55 times, which the company expects to be below 1 time in FY24. Remember, Torrent Pharma has done a lot of acquisitions, because of which there has been some debt on the balance sheet, but the company is fully committed to get down their leverage ratio. So probably this is also one of the reasons why the stock saw such a large volume as well as mass participation by funds in trade today. Right,
but Torrent Pharma, I think looking at the valuations, the PE ratio, so to say, it's a little expensive compared to the top three. And even, if you compare it with the Mankind Pharma, I think it's a little expensive. And correct. Of course, when you talk about the debt situation, we'll see how that pans out. And the next stock on my list is your favorite, Yatin, Suzlon. Because you've been talking about this stock a lot in recent times, given the fact, you can't be complaining, given the fact that the company has been winning orders every other week. Absolutely. Right? In a matter of 1 month, it has won somewhere around 6 orders. And the last one being from Torrent itself, right? So, this stock is in focus, up 10%. It's near 52-week highs. And, the company has swung to profits in the fourth quarter. Revenues, however, were down somewhere around 30%. But margins have seen a good recovery, double digit, 13.7% or thereabouts. Management has said that FY23 was a year of consolidation, but FY24 will prove to be good when it comes to the margins. It has also said that the net debt has come down significantly. For Suzlon, of course, debt is a major concern. So that one concern the management has looked to allay. Aside of that, it has a good order book, as I mentioned, 6 orders won in a matter of months. But there was another development where government has waived off the interstate transmission fee on offshore wind projects. But the management has said there will be no immediate impact of this move. So we'll have to see whether there will be a move in the long term or not. If you look at the stock, this stock is up 40% in the last 1 month. And good part is both, in fact not good, the foreign investors and mutual funds, domestic mutual funds have both decreased their stake. But since the stock is moving up and has come to double digits, let's see whether or not it finds takers, given the fact that there is order book comfort when it comes to this stock.
Absolutely, and the company recently concluded a rights issue, post which they have pared down their debt. But coming to another Gujarat based company after Suzlon, which is Adani Ports. Now if you look at the stock, was volatile intraday. There were concerns regarding auditor remarks as well as other aspects of the financials. But if you look at the company, ended up in the green. Nomura has a buy on this one with a target of 1025, given the fact that valuations are attractive. In fact, results according to Nomura have been better in terms of operational efficiencies. Management also gave out their commitment to reduce debt from the current levels. In fact, Adani Group as a whole has been talking about reducing leverage moving ahead. Also, the company sees strong growth volumes moving ahead, and also they expect a 20 to 22% growth in their container volumes as far as the logistics business is concerned. So the outlook has been strong. They have been talking about acquisitions moving ahead to fund that. Let's see how really does the balance sheet move up. Whether or not they will raise equity is a question. But yes, given the fact that the internal accruals are strong, they will be able to deleverage themselves. Obviously, this quarter they took a hit, with respect to the Myanmar port, which they eventually sold because of international sanctions, because of which you saw net profit turn net loss for the quarter versus last year. But yes, when it comes to the operational side, excluding one-off, it was a good quarter.
Well, it was a good quarter, and interesting to note that whenever I talk to analysts about the Adani group of stocks, this is one stock that they really like from this basket. Yes. Well, with that, I think we've come to the end of this edition of Closing Bell. But before I go, let me remind our viewers that 5:30 p.m. is the time when GDP figures will come out, and of course, we at Moneycontrol will be getting you some live coverage on and analysis on the GDP figures as well. But for now, it's a goodbye from Yatin and me. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. when I come back to you with Morning Trade. Thanks a lot for watching.